Do you want to learn how to make an off-the-shoulder top like the one I'm wearing right now? Well, stay tuned to this video because today I'm going to be teaching you how to make your very own off-the-shoulder top. What's up guys, it's the Quaint Boss and this is the Quaint Pursuit, bringing you weekly videos that will help you to up-level your wardrobe on a budget. On this channel, I teach you how to make your own clothes, how to make your own patterns, how to alter your own clothes, how to revamp your clothes, as well as how to make your own home decor. So if that sounds good to you and you're new here, then consider subscribing. I mean, like, seriously. Smash the hell out of the subscribe button, okay? And turn your notifications on so that whenever I post a video on a Sunday, you will be notified. So, this off-the-shoulder top is one of my favorite styles to wear. I really love it because it's easy to make and it's comfortable on my skin. I recently discovered this new type of fabric called techno crepe. I'm pretty sure it's not new, but it's new to me and I want to tell you guys about it because if it's something that you can get your hands on for this project, then that would be really good. The reason why I love it is because it stretches very nicely, it's thick so you can't see through it, and because it's so thick, you don't have to use an elastic in the top. First, we're going to start off by making the pattern. And once you have this pattern, you'll be able to make this top over and over and over again. The sleeves on mine are pretty short. However, you can do them any length that you want. So if you want it to be elbow length, you can do that. If you want it to be at your wrist, then that's something that you can do as well. We're gonna go into all of that stuff and I'm gonna show you how to take the measurements to get all of that done. So don't worry, I got you. Take the following measurements above your bust. Make sure that the tape measure comes over the widest, this part of your back, like where your shoulder bones are up top here, or backbones, scapula, whatever they call it. Yeah, just make sure that the tape measure comes over that area around your waist or wherever you want your top to stop. The length of the shirt, so that's going to be from the top here to wherever you want your top to stop. And then you want to take your arm measurements. Taking these measurements yourself, you will basically have to just put your tape measure here and then catch the other end, bring it around, and you basically just go like that, overlap the tape measure, and whatever measurement you get, you basically take that. I got 11.5. Measure the circumference of wherever you want your top to stop. So if you want your sleeve to be as short as mine, then you could just work with the same measurement that you got up here. But if you want your sleeve to be down to your elbow, then it's good to take the measurements, the circumference for your elbow as well. And if you wanted to bring it all the way down to your wrist, then you will just keep a hold of the tape measure and just move along, just bring it tighter, and for this I get 7. The next measurement that you want to take is the length of the sleeve. So if you only want your sleeve to be as long as the one I'm wearing, then you would measure from the top or where you want the sleeve to start to where you want the sleeve to stop. So for me, this is about 3 inches or a little bit less. If I wanted this to be about elbow length, then that would be 9. So as you can see, what I'm doing here is to actually hold the tape measure in my hand so that I am able to see where I want it to stop. So I know for sure that for elbow length, it would be about 9 inches. I could even just trail my finger along, and if I wanted it to come all the way down to my wrist, that would be about 19 inches. Alright, so first you're going to take your above bust measurement. You're going to -5, divide that by 2, and then you're going to mark that on your pattern paper. I'm using my marker here, but guys, you should not be using a marker to make your patterns. You should be using a chalk or pencil. I'm only using a marker because I want you to see the lines. So basically what I did was to go from the edge of the paper and draw out my measurement each time, and then I used my ruler to basically draw a vertical line there. I'm just drawing a horizontal line to establish the top of the shirt, And this line that I'm drawing right now is basically the length of the shirt plus 1 inch because we need allowance. But I would suggest actually adding an extra ½ inch so that you can fold a couple more times. And I just drew the hem of the shirt, so I'm just labeling now. This is the top of the shirt, this is the hem of the shirt, and this right here is the length of the shirt. Next, you're gonna take your waist circumference minus 5 inches again, divide that by 2, and then you're going to measure that along the hem of the shirt line to see how much excess you have. I had 2 inches excess, so I took off 1 inch off of both sides, and I'm using my ruler to basically connect the top of the shirt to those 2 lines that I drew. It's important to label your pattern so that you will know exactly what it is, and you also should write how many pieces you're supposed to cut out. I cut 1 piece here, but really you're supposed to cut 2 pieces. You're gonna see me making that correction soon, but you can go ahead and just cut out your pattern. You don't necessarily need to add any allowance to the sides because this fabric stretches a lot, so they're making the correction to cut 2 pieces of that. So now we're gonna do the sleeve. I'm just straightening that edge there, and you're gonna take your bicep circumference. You're gonna minus only 4 inches, and you're gonna divide that by 2, and you're gonna do the same thing that we did before, going from the edge of the fabric, marking different points along the pattern paper to establish the width of the sleeve, and then you're going to use your ruler to connect all those lines, and this measurement is going to be the length of the sleeve, but you want to add an extra inch again so that you can fold and stitch when we're done. And you're basically going to draw a horizontal line to complete the sleeve. That's that. I'm drawing a symbol here that symbolizes that you're supposed to place this side of the pattern on a fold, and make sure that you label your pattern. I am actually adding an extra ½ inch for allowance because I mean it's better to have sleeves that fit big than to fit small, and then if it does fit big you can always just alter it to make it tighter. So you can go ahead, cut out your pattern there, and we have 2 pattern pieces, only 2 pattern pieces for this garment. I absolutely love making this top because it's just so easy to make. I am using white fabric to make it. I know I probably should use a fabric that's like a brighter color that contrasts more with this white tablecloth background that I have, but I know you guys can see regardless. So what I'm doing here is to just pin the pattern to fabric that's basically placed right sides together, so when I'm done cutting I'll have 2 pieces. So you want to cut along the edge of the pattern, and make sure that the scissors that you use to cut your pattern paper and your actual fabric are 2 different scissors. There we have 2 pieces, and I'm using rib knits to sew this. Not really the best choice. As I told you, techno crepe is perfect for this piece. Now I am basically just folding 2 layers of fabric in half, and I am placing my symbol that says to fold on the actual fold. Okay, make sure that you put that on the fold. Yes, and then you're going to cut along the edge of the pattern once more. But this is fairly simple, guys. Trust me, like this tutorial is gonna be over in a breeze, and you're gonna be like, geez, I need to make 10 of these, 1 in every color that exists in the rainbow. I know there aren't 10 colors, but I'm playing with you guys. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. Yeah, so now that we have these pieces, what you should have 2 sleeve pieces. I'm basically laying mine out right now. And you should also have 2 pieces for the body of your shirt, 1 for the back and 1 for the front. So now we're going to take it to the sewing machine. Make sure that you have thread to match your fabric. I'm going to be using a size 12 needle in my industrial sewing machine. If you have a domestic sewing machine, then the best needle to use would be a ballpoint jersey needle. So we're going to be doing a French seam for this top. First, you're going to fold the sleeve wrong sides together and we're going to pin along the edge. Your first stitch in the French seam should be 1/4 of an inch away from the edge of the fabric. Alright, so step 1 of the French seam has been completed. Now step 2 is where we turn the fabric out, the garment out, the sleeve out, and we pin along the seams once more. And this time, instead of stitching with a 1/4 inch allowance, we're gonna stitch with a 1/2 inch allowance. Whenever you're stitching with knit fabrics, you might find yourself in a situation where your stitches are being skipped, the thread is popping. That's just something that happens with knits, and that's why I used a size 12 needle. But as you can see, regardless of that, it's still skipping stitches. So my solution is to actually press a strip of Pellon into the seam there. Something else that helps is to stretch the fabric as I stitch, like you see me doing here. And if you look, you'll notice that there are some skipped stitches there in the seam. So I basically have to go again, stitch once more, stretch the fabric as I go along, and then I'm gonna check to see how it turns out. We have less skipped stitches now, and I'm just fitting my sleeve to make sure that it fits me well. So I'm gonna do the same thing for the next sleeve. However, I'm gonna put a strip of Pellon onto the seam where I know that I'm going to be stitching. So I'm just cutting those strips right now. I'm gonna do 1 for this sleeve that I have left and then 2 for the body of the shirt. So I'm taking this strip and I'm gonna iron it on to my sleeve. So with the Pellon, it turned out much better. I didn't have any skipped stitches, my thread didn't pop. It was a perfect solution. Alright, so next up, we're folding in 1/4 of an inch twice and pinning all the way around the top and the bottom of both sleeves. So basically, we're finishing off the sleeves, we're hemming the sleeves. Alright. So to hem, we're gonna stitch along the very edge of the folds, going all the way around. You're gonna slightly tug on the fabric as you go along because you have to make sure that it stretches along with the thread. And this part should actually be a lot easier than when you're stitching vertically on this fabric because you have doubled it. Alright, so do that for the top and the bottom of both sleeves, and we're just gonna fast forward to the next step. So you're gonna take one piece of the fabric, whether it's the front or the back, and you're going to press one strip of Pellon onto both sides, the left and the right, and then you're going to place those pieces wrong sides together, pin along the edges, and stitch with 1/4 inch allowance, removing the pins as you go along. Do that on both sides. And by the way, just for some clarity, when I said to press the Pellon onto the left and right side, I meant the seams. So it's only just going to be in the area that you're stitching. And make sure that you catch all the stitches. Like I have to go over here because I missed out a few spots. And once you're done with that, you're going to turn your fabric inside out,
flatten out the seams there and pin once more. Remember, you gotta pin for stability. Once that's done, you're gonna go over again with a 1/2 inch seam allowance this time, or in other words, you're gonna stitch 1/2 inch away from the edge of your garment. Gonna do that for both sides, the left and the right, and I will see you when all of this is done on the other side. Okay guys, we're almost done. Now we're gonna fold and pin the hem and the top of the shirt, the body of the shirt. So we're gonna fold a 1/4 of an inch and then fold a second time another 1/4 of an inch. So that's gonna be in total 1/2 inch at the top, 1/2 inch at the bottom, and then we're gonna take it to the sewing machine and stitch at the very edge of the fold like we did with the sleeves. And we are on our way to having a cute off the shoulder top. Alright, so remember to stitch along the very edge, remove the pins as you go along, and tug on the fabric as you stitch. This will prevent threads from popping while you're putting on your top. That's like one of the worst things ever, because when your thread pops, your top starts to fall apart. I mean, it doesn't fall off of you, but it definitely starts to look very tacky. So to attach the sleeves, you're going to line up the side seams of the tube top and the side seams of the sleeves. You're gonna pin those and you're gonna stitch them to the actual top. So when you're stitching this, you're just going to back tack. You won't make this stitch more than an inch long. You're going to back tack at least 5 times and cut your thread. So you back tack 5 times to just make sure that it stays there and it's sturdy and it won't pop off while you're wearing it. So back tack about 5 times, back and forth, and trim your threads. So this is a top, guys. Yay!
I did not use a serger for this at all. I also did not use any elastic because I feel like using the elastic kind of makes it complicated at times. But if you can control it, get yourself some cotton lycra or some techno crepe or some spandex to work on this project. I am going to be creating a video telling you what types of needles to use for different fabrics, because you can't use the same needle that you use to stitch jeans to stitch spandex or lycra or knit fabrics. So look out for that video, and I really hope that this one was helpful. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment box down below or send me a direct message on Instagram at quaintboss. Another thing you can do on Instagram is to tag me in pictures of the tops that you make. I really want to see your off the shoulder tops, and I am willing to shout you out in my story because I really appreciate when you watch my videos and actually make stuff from them. I like knowing that you're learning from my videos. So tag me in your story or on your feed at quaintboss on Instagram, and also leave some comments down below as to what else you want to learn how to sew. Don't forget to subscribe for weekly sewing videos and pattern drafting videos and alteration videos and revamping videos. Smash that like button. As a matter of fact, destroy the like button because I know that you liked this video. Blessings and love. I'll see you next week.